Hi guys, this is the Planet Earth here. How you guys doing, man? We're still a little bit freaked out. So here's what happened, and I don't know how, but it was a miracle of some sort. Alright, on the bottom of our car, we had a problem. It was a very dangerous problem. So, if you know anything about cars, you know that loose tie rods can be very dangerous. They can fall off. And it can cause your, wheel to suddenly cave in and cause you to crash or cause your extreme damage to your car. Well, about a month and a half ago, maybe two, I noticed that there was a clanking when you would push the brakes. I didn't think that much of it. I thought, okay, well, let's replace the brakes. So, replace the rotors and replace the brake pads. Brand new rotors, brand new brake pads. I'm thinking, okay, maybe that'll fix the problem. So, I have the rotors and brake pads replaced. And it was still clanking. It was a mild clink at the time, and it got worse and worse and worse every week. I don't know why. So I checked the brake fluid level. The brake fluid level was fine. So, we go to Siesta Key, which is northwest, kind of like mid-central to northwest, kind of a northwest Florida, but mid-central western Florida. It's by Sarasota. We get a flat tire. And when we take the flat tire to the local tire shop that was there, near Siesta Key, is when they told us that the tie rods were loose. And he jiggled the wheel, and he did not lie. He picked the car straight up, looked underneath it, and he said, oh, well, while changing your tire, we noticed that your tie rods are loose. And I made sure, because I'm always eyeing mechanics, because I just don't trust mechanics that much. And straight away, he did a 3 in the 9 position, and it was shaking. The tire was shaking. It was giving a little bit of push, a leeway, and it was shaking. I was like, oh boy. I mean, I didn't know too much about tie rods at the time. I know a lot about vehicles, but not that much. So I'm like, oh shit. So it was worse than just the tie rods, though. We're not talking about just tie rods up in this BITCH. This was worse. The lower control arm was cracked, physically cracked, and was barely hanging on. I don't know how it did not fucking break, and we lost the left side of our vehicle. I don't understand it. Something happened between, I don't know, I don't know if it started in Jersey, but I had noticed a clanking type of fashion ever since we took that trip. It wasn't a mild clink, but when you would push the brake, it would kind of make a clinking. Not every single time, though. It would be like only when you're going kind of slow, it would make a clinking sound. When you push the brake and release it, it would go, ooh, ooh, when you let go of the brake. Or if you push the brake kind of fast, it goes clank, clank. And the lower control arm was cracked almost all the way through. How the hell did we not lose control of the vehicle at any point? But the lower control arm, the bearing was broken, and then there was a crack going through the actual control arm itself. A big crack of the actual control arm, which is supposed to be steel or whatever the hell. I don't know what the hell it's made out of. So, after figuring that out, because I had to pick it up because I was just going to replace the tie rods. And, the tie rods were bad. They were shot. They were shot, completely shot on the left side. Absolutely just shot. And I've never seen anything like that. They were really in bad shape. So I replaced the tie rods. The right sides are perfectly fine for some reason, but the left sides, they were loose. They were rusted out. There was no more on the actual tie rod on the outer part. The gasket was just broken. It was disgusting. There was sand in it. And I was like, okay, time to replace it. So we we had to replace the control arm because it was like he showed me with like a flathead, a big ass flathead, and he was like slowly jiggling it. And not only was he jiggling it though, but it was also just cracked, and it was loose like a bitch. Every time it would hit a bump, it would go clank, clank, clank. I've never seen anything like that, man, and just very dangerous. I never knew that how I actually. To be honest, when he lifted the vehicle up, that's the first time I ever gone down below a vehicle and actually he explained all the parts to me underneath the vehicle. I mean, I know basics about the vehicle, but I never knew that there was control arms. I didn't know. I knew about tie rods, but I didn't know about control arms. And I didn't know that if you crack those control arms, that's part of the suspension. I mean, I knew that was part of the car, but I never knew you could actually crack them because I thought they were tougher than shit. No, we can crack them. And I blame the potholes. Somewhere from Miami to New Jersey, and New Jersey back to Miami. I remember hitting a big pothole in New Jersey. I don't know if that started it, or if it was when I almost hit that alligator, and I nicked his tail. I don't know if it was that or that, but I'm going to be inspecting underneath the vehicle for the rest of my life. Like, every time I get a car or if I drive underneath the car, I'm going to make sure that everything's cracked. Obviously, I won't be able to tell about the control arm being loose from the bushings in there. I'd have to pick the car up and then, you know, test that. But, I mean, other than that, though, I mean, so many problems can arise from a lower control arm being cracked. Physically cracked. I mean, you could tell the other one was fine, but the other one was just cracked. I've never seen anything like this. And this is a life lesson, man. You need to know your cars. And thank God for the mechanic. Now I know everything about the car that I drive. Everything. I know. He showed me everything, every part of it. The only thing he could show me was inside the engine, but he told me every single part, everything that it is, and every single, like, little thing, like the sensors and where all the sensors are, the camshaft sensor, the IAC valve for the throttle, the PCV valve, which I changed myself yesterday before I took it in for servicing. I changed the air filter, I changed the spark plugs, the spark plug wires, I cleaned the battery terminals, I put some seafoam. I don't think seafoam does anything. All it does is put white smoke out the car. But, I mean, it does markedly get rid of carbon. It's weird. And it helps the fuel injectors. But, it's just a lot of work. A lot of fucking work. But now I know everything about the engine. Where the timing belt is. Blah, blah, blah. What it looks like. What to look for. What the alternator does when it's spinning through this. And what this part is of the engine. This part is of the engine. And this part is the engine and what it's spinning and how it creates electricity. And there was just a lot of drama, man. That's dangerous. I never knew that you could fucking crack a control arm. Oh, and also, if you have a loose tie rod, man, you need to get that shit fixed. It is too dangerous to not want to fix that. And also, check your ball joints. And bearings. And just check all that good stuff because it's so much smoother now. It's like a whole new car. No more shaking. And then when they do the alignment, they use these lasers. It's really cool. It tells you when you need to adjust it. It's so crazy how cars work. It was so cool. But those control arms, man, those control arms, and then you have the tie rods, and you have the ball joints, and you have the suspension, then you have the shocks. It's really interesting how a car works, but now I know everything, how it works. I know everything about it now, which I think is pretty damn cool. But life lesson learned: you need to check everything in your car, every single thing of your car. You need to check it. Always check your fucking car, man. Get under there and check to make sure everything physically looks okay. Cause you never know how close you were to losing your tire off and your whole suspension just... Anyway, thank you guys for watching. This has been the Planet Earth here.